to champion the value of a dollar. I'm here to champion the value of great ideas and to make sure those great ideas are in an environment that can flourish and can get them connected. One of the engines that I found myself personally involved in is that upon retirement, the allure of grandchildren and golf and gardening, the geriatric G-force I refer to it. And I don't think of myself as a 66-year-old. I think of myself and feel like I'm still in my early 40s, where the imagination and the ideas and the desire to connect are as strong as they ever were. That on the day of retirement, a young lady brought to me an idea, and I could have been standing in Two Hills, I could have been up in Perryvale, I could have been out in Grand Cache. Wherever I was, someone came up to me and said to me, could you help me with the background that you have and with your understanding and with your network, take my company and take my idea and enable it to flourish. And I thought, golf is going nowhere, grandchildren, my kids aren't yet interested, and gardening is my wife's forte. Maybe it would be interesting to grow a small company rather than to grow a garden, and indeed I did give her assistance, I can. And over time, we got that company going, and I thought, well, this is easy. And boy, did I make a mess of the next few opportunities after that, because I had no connectivity. I was in isolation. Same thing that will happen with the community, same thing will happen with any entrepreneur living in isolation. You don't have access to the money, the marketing, the management, the moxie, the manpower that you need in order to grow and flourish. They're the nutrients. And without connectivity, they don't exist. It's like a sound in a forest and a tree falling. If no one's there, is there really a sound? Is there really an idea if there's no one to share it with? The next couple of businesses did not succeed. They didn't fail, but they were a mess. And I was living in sweaty pajamas for some years, terrified that my wife would find out of what mess I had gotten into in these new enterprises. But in time, I did something quite smart, and something you're doing today and you're championing. And that is, I formed a small business advisory to see if they could get me out of trouble or keep me out of trouble. And that small business advisory grew from 5 to 5,000. And that's a big number, and it's a story unto itself, and Leslie could tell the story, because along the way I found people like Leslie, and I found people throughout Alberta who really had a place and had an idea and had an enterprise and didn't necessarily want to take it to the city. And I found places where people were going through what I was going through, and I said, never again. Never should someone have to suffer, cope in a way as I did, as a lonely entrepreneur without connectivity and without resources. And so that group of 5 became ultimately the Alberta Council of Technologies. And what that body does today is it looks for where there is entrepreneurial opportunity, tries to keep it in place and build around it the infrastructure necessary for small enterprises to grow in place. Not to die in place, but to grow in place. And without SuperNet, we can't bring those resources to bear in local communities. We can't spread everything around, but with good connectivity we can. And so what we start out with is we start out with people getting together, often for purposes of social networking, because good business does not grow out of itself. Good business is really a byproduct of establishing trust. Once you've got trust, then people are willing to reach into their pockets and share. Just like with a doctor and sharing information with a doctor, or sharing information with someone who holds something that constitutes a risk or an opportunity or has exclusive rights to practice. If you don't have trust, you don't have the foundation to go further. So we build a strong social network, and on top of it, we end up building business networks. So the Alberta Council of Technologies, while some may think of it as the network of networks for small business in the 21st century, where we grow and help flourish small businesses. What we really are is a social network out of which strong and solid businesses grow. And I invite any one of you, any place in the province, to take a look at www.abctech.ca. That's my marketing moment. I'll put that down for a moment. But what we do and how we do it, absolutely, it's essential that we have SuperNet completed in order to be able to reach out to the rest of the province. Now, in order to achieve that, you need 2 things. You need human beings with a passion to play in business, to play with libraries, to play with knowledge, to play on a global scale. And they do exist. They're across the province. But having people with passion and an interest in communicating is not enough. You've got to have that technology. And when the technology stopped short in what might be referred to as the first or the last mile, we had a dilemma. And the Alberta Council of Technologies, when it traveled around the province in its formative years, identified 5 priorities. Some of them are obvious: access to capital, skilled labor, high-speed rapid transit, in order to enable this province to remain connected. It's extremely large with tons of resources moving around and the urge of people to meet one another. The last one is regional governance, and that is the capacity of government to make the regulatory changes necessary in order to accommodate rapid technological change like SuperNet. The fifth priority, although it was actually third, is high-speed rural broadband. We knew full well that the province would remain disconnected if they did not complete the SuperNet promise. That's what this is all about. In order for us to better understand, we established a small working group, and we put two co-chairs in place. One turned out to be absolutely passionate on the community and the people side, and the other had extensive knowledge in the realm of technology. And so with that, I'd like to introduce Alan Bly, who will take up the next
1 minute, Perry.
I'm done. I'm 1 minute ahead of time. I'll send you an invoice for 1 minute of time savings. So the next presentation will come from someone who is extremely adept at talking about the technology of SuperNet. As I've hopefully set up community building and how critical it is that we have passionate people remaining in passionate places to build great businesses. We do need SuperNet to be completed, and with that, I'll introduce Alan Bly, or I'll let Jan do the same. Thank you, Jan, and thank you.
Thank you, Perry. That's actually the finish of the quality of life session, so at this point I'll turn it back over to Kevin.
All right. Jan, thank you very much. I'm back. And thank you, Jan, for facilitating an excellent session. This is all fascinating stuff. This last session, I think, was, of course, you and I share a passionate interest in these issues, pushing out broadband, pushing it out from institutional use into the community at the street level, and seeing members of the community, local champions, take it up and begin using it for new purposes that the rest of us might hardly imagine right now. I especially appreciated that every speaker spoke a great deal about collaboration and the importance of partnership, of working together. Of course, I have a special interest in libraries, so I was very pleased that Punch highlighted all of the collaborative efforts that take place within the realm of libraries. And I was very thankful to Perry for talking about the social aspect of humans and how that underpins mentoring entrepreneurs and making economic enterprise flourish. So thank you. That was an excellent session. We're going to take our final break for the day. I would like to ask one thing before we break. If you have not yet, would you please make sure before you leave today to fill out the evaluation form. And if the evaluation forms are not available at your site, or if they've run out, would you please do this for me? Would you email your comments to Bill Cricker? And you can reach Bill at communitieswithoutboundaries.ca. bill@communitieswithoutboundaries.ca. So we'll take a break, refresh yourselves, and we'll try and get back about a little after 2:05, 5 after 2. Thanks.